Hey, hi, how you doing? This is the VlogTron, and welcome back to the VlogTron show, and welcome to part number 13 of the VlogTron show. Your inconsistent, half-assed content to keep you guys filled and entertained while I actually work on stuff that's worthwhile. Let's get into it. What's today's topic for this vlog, this VlogTron show, this piece of garbage, which I don't even understand why there are hundreds of you that watch this. I'm surprised I even get 10 views out of a VlogTron show. Pfft. Go watch my other videos, they're better. What are you doing here? In all seriousness though, the topic for this video is going to be something that's been causing me a lot of grief, not only recently, but just over the course of my entire life. This thing that it's caused so much unneeded anger and frustration for me and other people I know, and that's text chat, and why I hate text chat. Whether it's on forums, message boards, comments, emails, whatever, I hate text chat. But Ryan, Gamertron, why do you hate text chat? Because with text chat, with texting, one of the most important aspects of communication is completely lost on it, and that's tone. Being able to hear the tone, the emotion from someone's voice is remarkably important in understanding the message they are trying to convey. Without being able to hear someone's tone, without being able to hear the emotion behind their voice, behind their message, behind what they're trying to communicate, which is almost completely unavailable in texting, you then have the unfortunate consequence, side effect, and job of trying to figure out and assume what the tone and the emotion is of what someone texted. And I hope you like gambling your friendships and your peace of mind, because that's what text chat is. It's a gamble. You could text a joke, a question, whatever, and it can be completely misunderstood as something entirely different than what you meant to convey. Time and time again, I find myself butting heads or having to constantly apologize to one another with very close friends of mine because we got into an argument, a disagreement, a misunderstanding because we read each other's texts and we had completely different ideas of what each other was trying to say. And this has happened to me time and time and time again, and each time I loathe texting all the more. It's one of the many reasons I refuse to go on and make accounts for Facebook and Twitter. The whole basis of those platforms is texting and messaging. I already have such a poor track record with that, why would I want to amplify it? More importantly, Facebook and Twitter are immoral and corrupt as fuck. But that's not what I'm here to talk about right now. But my misunderstandings, miscommunication, and needless conflict that arises from texting is one of the other reasons I refuse to get into those paragraph-long YouTube comment debates. I refuse. Maybe I'll make one paragraph to attempt to convey my message, reach a consensus and understanding, but if after that first paragraph nothing happens, I'm not going to write you a novel in comments. If you want to continue the discussion, you want to have a debate, then voice chat with me. Actually talk to me like a mature adult. Which is something I've noticed a lot of people who love to write massive paragraphs in YouTube comment sections. Even though they love conflict and they're looking to have a discussion or debate, when you say, okay, let's voice chat, they immediately cower and disappear. Just something I've noticed, just something I noticed. This is why I value so much actual legitimate socializing, communication, talking with people is an important part of the human existence. Through speaking, through words, through language, we are able to share our perspectives, our opinions in the exact way we want to. You can't do that with text. With text, you will always be limited by the lack of tone and the lack of emotion. When you have that tone and that emotion in what you're trying to say, the person you are communicating with, the person you're having a conversation with, can easily identify what you're trying to convey. Oh, what he said was a joke. Oh, he's not being serious. Oh, he's angry. He's upset. Man, he's really happy. Man, something seems wrong. I think something's bothering him just in the way he sounds. You can tell so much about a person, how they're feeling, by how they sound. Most arguments, most disagreements, most disputes that I have with other people, whether they be acquaintances, strangers, or close friends and family, usually whenever there's a problem or a misunderstanding, it can almost always immediately be resolved by just talking to one another, by simple human communication. Whereas with text, in my personal experience, time and time again, instead of resolving a situation, texting usually, almost always, escalates it and blows things out of proportion. Now, of course, there's the most immediate factor that I already talked about, the lack of tone and emotion, which you have to assume through text. But other contributing factors include the time it takes to respond to one another. Unless your fingers are lightning fast on a keyboard or a phone, you're not going to be able to respond in a timely fashion that you would like to respond in. And having that long opening, having that long gap between responses, whereas with vocal one-to-one conversation, with texting, with that huge gap, with that huge pause in responses, it gives you perhaps too much time to think out a response. And there's also that fear of, damn, I'm taking too long to respond. I don't know how much time this person has or when they'll be able to respond, if they'll see it at all. There's this needless, pointless, extra worry and concern when it comes to texting. Having that gap in between responses fragments a conversation. Instead of the two people having the conversation being on the same page, they're both in a rush to get their responses in, while also thinking too hard on what to write. It's just that extra mental brain power to write out the words, spell check the words, make sure your grammar's correct, make sure your actual message, your comment, your text actually sounds like it's coming from a adult and not a kindergartner. That extra stress, that extra brain process, as you're making mistakes and not properly conveying what you want to convey. Whereas with the immediate fluidity of vocal conversation, it's far more natural, relaxing, and even civil. Because that's another problem with text communication, that disconnect from the person. While you know you're talking with another person, you're communicating with words, with written, or in this case, texted words, letters, trying to spell out and accurately represent what you want to communicate to the other person. But in the end, when you can't hear that human voice, when you can't see that human face, when you're just reading words, there's that disconnect from the person. It doesn't look, feel, or sound as real, so there's that disconnect, that dehumanization, that lack of empathy. While there are some asshole human beings out there, the vast majority of the human population is very empathetic and caring for one another. The vast majority of people don't want to feel like shit, and they don't want to make others feel like shit. So when you can actually hear and or see the person who you are trying to communicate with, it triggers that mental thought process in your brain, oh, this is a person, this is a human, like me. I don't want to say something that would make me or them uncomfortable. And come on, let's all be honest here, you see this all the time in YouTube comment sections. It's one of the reasons I kind of hate YouTube comment sections, and why there are times where I'm like, you know what, YouTube comment sections maybe shouldn't even exist. Because I see time and time again in YouTube comment sections how these comments, these texted comments, they don't promote socializing with others, they don't promote conversation, discussion, rational adult debate. I see so much of one of two things. One, like whoring, where someone says something stupid or controversial, or tries to be funny and mainstream and go with the flow of whatever popular opinion might be. And instead of being honest with themselves and those around them, they're just writing what they're writing and posting that comment, not for the sake of a conversation, not for the sake of sharing an opinion, but just so they can get likes on their comment. And I don't understand why. I don't understand this bizarre mentality that has developed in YouTube comment sections where people try so hard to say whatever they think they need to say in order to get likes on their comment. Getting likes on your comment doesn't earn you anything. You don't get anything. Why are you baiting? Why are you fishing? Why are you whoring out so hard to get likes on your comment in a YouTube comment section? Is your life so miserable that this is where you need to go to get some form of validity? Holy shit. And the other thing I see in YouTube comment sections so much is people just looking for a fight. They want to find someone that will just spend hours, days, writing back and forth entire paragraphs, novels. Just hundreds of thousands of words back and forth in a needless feud to prove who's right, who's wrong. Whereas if you just talked to one another like mature adults, whatever disagreements you may have may be resolved in a few minutes instead of a few days. Again, that's why I refuse to get into these big, long YouTube comment debates. If my first reply doesn't get to you, if you want to continue the conversation, you're gonna voice chat with me. I'm not gonna waste your time, I'm not gonna waste my time, I'm not gonna waste everyone else's time writing a bunch of stupid, pointless words on the internet. If you want to talk to me, if you want to have a conversation with me, you want to have a debate with me, actually talk to me. voice chat with me. It's why I don't do like response type videos, response commentary videos at other YouTubers, and it is why I try to emphasize and encourage people who have a disagreement with me to, instead of wasting the time putting together a response video to one of my videos, we actually talk to one another, have a debate. This way, shit gets done instead of a pointless, petty back and forth. All that pointless, petty back and forth does is create needless aggression, tension, and dead brain cells. I know for a lot of people on YouTube, a lot of supposed content creators, granted, I don't consider anyone on YouTube who only makes YouTube videos that are responses to other people's YouTube videos content creators. I mean, if you don't have an original or creative bone in your body and your only means of producing a video is via someone else's video and basically replaying that person's video while you talk over it, well, one, you're incredibly lazy, and two, you're an intellectual coward. Be a mature adult, have a conversation, have a debate, and use your mouth hole. Use your mouth hole to generate words for the other person's ear holes to pick up so that they can send sounds from their mouth holes to your ear holes. And I know some of you are going to make that sexual somehow, and you're a naughty, naughty pervert if you do so. Anyways, yeah, I'm done. So that's why I hate text chat. This is why I prefer voice chat, why I will always prefer and promote actually talking with other people instead of texting, and I got nothing else. Yeah, just talk, people, talk, socialize. We can speak, we can form words, we have language for a reason. Use your mouths. It's one of the many reasons we have them. Anywho, that has been another episode, part number of the VlogTron show. I do hope you found some sort of entertainment through this waste of time video. You guys know the drill. The likes, the comments, sharing on social media, Patreon, and I'll see you guys in the next one whenever. Later.